All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first Season 5 broadcast here at ISRL with some actual on-track action. It's the Hungaro Ring, and we're here for our preseason race here. I guess we kind of kick off Season 5 this way. We've got our first race where the points matter next week in Austria, but this is the first time that most of this division is going to be able to see who it's fighting against, take a look at their new cars, and experience the true race environment that we might get this season. So prepare to look for some favorites and some dark horses right now. If you can make your predictions on the champion this race and you get it right, then props to you. If you haven't recognized me already, I'm ISRL Knight. You will see me here in the Division 4 comms booth for most of the season. I've got J Wills with me as well, and J Wills making his comms debut with us today here. And how you doing, man?
Doing well, mate. How are you doing?
I'm alright. We're back to racing. It's been a nice, lengthy off-season break since the end of F1 2020, and I'm excited to get back into the action now. I'm not sure if there's any drivers in this division that you're a bit more familiar with than others. I think you probably know a lot of the guys in Division 3 and 2. Do you have any early candidates here that maybe you think we should keep an eye out for, or are you coming in this one blind?
Coming into this one blind, obviously looking at the stands at the moment, One Wing currently on the provisional pole position is probably your favourite as it stands, but only early days, obviously, in this qualifying session and in the season, so it would be exciting to see what happens.
Yeah, we've already got a casualty here, the curbs in Hungary, known to be a little bit tricky this time around. It's Gravel Trap who's hit the wall there, turn 4. Let me see if I can get another drive-by before... Oh, yeah, his car's already despawned. That's all right, we already had it on video there, so just scrub back the stream. Yeah, I think he just took too much curb, hit that inside wall there, and that's the end of his session very early. He did get a lap in, so if anybody doesn't get a lap, they'll start ahead of him. But for the time being, that's the end of his session. Only 12 drivers here. The preseason race isn't mandatory. It's not going to count towards the absences or anything, so some guys opting to sit it out. But the guys on the track right now, what they get a nice little advantage of knowing their competition a bit and getting to know the field, their teammates, maybe who's going to be good. Oh, his Monkeys has a bit of a spin there on the curve. But yeah, that advantage, do you think it's going to pay off here in the season? Is it going to give him just enough of a head start to get some early points maybe?
Possibly. I think a bit of a psychological advantage. Obviously do well in the practice race today, maybe get a win. Oh, as the Williams hits the wall, Greenwood Army. And that's his wheel gone. Oh, in the mediums, he didn't get to set a time.
That is a big impact. That is a big impact.
Left-hand wall first, and then kind of carried running wide after he got damaged and couldn't manage to save the car in time. So that is his qualifying session over on those medium compound tyre. But yeah, I think it could be good for the drivers that get a better result today. You know, if you get on that podium, even a win possibly, good start to your season, get the momentum going, get the momentum rolling, shall we say, and then hopefully kickstart their season.
Absolutely, and with only 12 drivers today, as a few couldn't get in the lobby. I think 2 of the reserves had trouble getting into the lobby. The rest of the regular drivers sitting out. It is going to be a little easier to get that good result, get the momentum, and get the season, kicked off the right way. So I think it's hugely beneficial to attend the preseason race and just give it your all. Even if you crash out, or you get a bad result there, you've got that track time. You've gotten back into the season's groove of, the quality in the race and staying focused the whole time. So I think we might see some of these guys that are here today, especially the ones that finish pretty well with maybe a bit more speed here in the opening rounds. Austria next week is our usual opener, so it's going to be quite a different track to this one. So these drivers are going to be in for a bit of a mix-up there on the kind of track we're seeing in the first couple weeks. We should see some different driving styles prevail as well.
Yeah, and obviously Austria, a very high-speed track. Very difficult this year, Austria, with the high curbs, obviously. But obviously same here, especially at turn 1 in Austria. But it'll be good to see at least, getting in the swing of it. How I would say it is every minute you put in that tank is a beneficial minute to your season. every minute you can get in the car is a better minute than if you're not done the minute, if you get what I mean.
Absolutely.
Also seeing Cozy go around in his Alpha Tauri in front of his teammate.
And I almost want to say that I think both Alpha Tauris might have had a moment there, because there was an Alpha Tauri parked, and I'm pretty sure that a different Alpha Tauri left the scene first. I think
Marco's on this flying lap. He kind of just came onto it as Cozy went round.
Okay, I thought Marco had spun around first there. Must have been seeing things, but that makes a little bit more sense there. Not a great start to the session for Cozy. His teammate, though, puts his car right up into pole position, provisional pole position for now. So one of the AlphaTauris, I think, enjoying this track a little bit more than the other at the moment.
Yeah, definitely not a horrific lap there from Marco to set himself provisional pole by 6/10 currently. But here we go, Oil Can coming around the final corner now. Let's see what he can do up towards the DRS. Didn't manage to catch a sector 2 split, but it is slower by 5/10 of a second.
Yeah, not improving there for Rusty Olican in a session where McLaren is. Yeah, I was gonna say, let's try to find Cozy here, and Cozy with a big moment coming out of that corner, and he's done the exact same thing as Gravel Trap, and unfortunately for Cozy, he's gonna have to bail out of that lap and let the Ferrari of is that Racer, I think, go by. Yeah, but yeah, so Marco goes into provisional pole position, and then on his in-lap, crashes out. I don't know if maybe he was pushing for a second one, and unfortunately for Cozy, big moment in the same place. We can see just how deadly those curbs are in Hungary, and you mentioned briefly the curbs in Austria as well. There's curbs around a lot of tracks on this game, and one of the reasons they're so deadly is that there's many curbs that last season were part of the racing line, were curbs that a lot of drivers learned to rely on to exit or take the corner by just hitting at full speed, essentially. And now in this game, you do it, and your car is going to jump 3 feet in the air, and you're going to spin around. So there's a lot of muscle memory that these guys have to lose. I expect the curbs to play a huge role in the opening couple races here in any league on F1 2021.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, I was on board with Marco on his actual flying lap, and he ran a little bit wide there, which I think is the exit of turn 4, I believe, turn 4. But he managed to hold the snap and then obviously set the fastest lap. So obviously on that time run he might have been pushing again, maybe over-sent the car, maybe because he got that flying lap on the board, thought maybe he could send it a bit more. And obviously that's put him in the wall.
Yeah, and maybe a little over-ambitious there, as it's not a place you want to crash. You've done your lap. All you had to do is bring the car home, and you've managed to end your session. So I don't know if he was pushing for a second lap, but very, very unfortunate end to the session there for our provisional pole sitter. But the good news is, if no one beats him, I mean, he's still going to get to keep that time.
Yeah, obviously, and as I'm on board with Philip Marshall coming through Sector 2, but obviously, there's another driver gone. It's Fallen Monkey in Sector 2. He's gone off in Sector 2.
And Fallen Monkeys is he's my roommate actually, and I heard a bit of a reaction through the door before I saw that cars hit the wall. So unfortunate again, another one victim of the curbs very early on in this session, and Victor's the one I was trying to find there. As hopefully we drive by, and that's the inside wall. So on the exit there, that curb that on the right of Victor, very, very easy to get your wheels on, very, very easy to lose it. Quite a bumpy curb there, so I do have to think that's what happened with Monkeys. Michael Fures, at least he was trying to do a lap there, very much stuck in the dirty air of Victor for most of that lap. I do wonder.
He's now invalidated.
Yeah, invalidated. He's backing out now, but he's been pushing for pretty much an entire lap. So not sure if he's going to change the tires now. He's going to go again. It's a bit of an interesting tactic there.
Yeah, drivers just trying to find their limits of themselves and their cars, obviously first season on this new game, so people just trying to see what they can do. But at that point, you're maybe pushing yourself to overdrive the car slightly, which, I mean, it's only a pre-season race, as we said, but it's not a habit you want to get used to, shall we put it that way.
Yeah, you're not going to get any practice out of pushing the car too hard, crashing on lap 3, and then not touching this game until the next week.
Exactly.
Being able to finish the race, and even if they're not the fastest laps, being able to get laps in goes a huge way towards feeling ready and getting to know the car. And the cars in this game, it does handle quite a bit differently than the cars in last game. There's different tire physics. The curve feels they feel way different, and so and especially with the braking, how the setups work, it's a whole different ball game. And some guys are having a bit of a harder time adjusting, and part of it is that they're pushing just a little bit too hard, and the car isn't going to react the way it did in last year's game, and they're not used to it, and they don't know how to react when the car doesn't react the way it's supposed to. And I think that's why we're going to see some DNFs throughout the day during qualifying, and honestly would not be surprised if I was one of them, just judging by my time trials around this place. And that's another car who's had a spin. That's Philip Marshall in the Haas.
Yeah, ooh, let's have a look. He's managed to save it on. That was the curb that a lot of people got caught out on last year.
Yeah.
As Michael Furr has also improved by 0.4 of a second to put himself within the 10th of Marco's obviously DNF to this point. But it's good to get your little sighters out, I think, in pre-season. Obviously, very different track when we go to Austria. A lot more high speed, a lot less technical. Hungary, obviously known as Monaco without the barriers in real life. So. But going back to how the game's changed, obviously, according to EA and Codemasters, they obviously talked to the F1 teams and got the cars to be a bit more realistic, apparently, this year, according to what they've said. Obviously, who knows what they've actually done. But apparently the cars meant to be a bit more realistic this year, so maybe that's why, obviously, the cars seem to be a bit more understeery from what I've used anyway. I don't know about yourself, Knight, but
they are a bit
more understeery.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't help too with the new aero regulations. Well, the aero tweaks, I should say, with the floor. That did also reduce quite a bit of downforce from those cars. So not only have they lost downforce compared to last year's cars, they handle a little bit closer to real life, and that's a big change for a game like this. And it's also why we're seeing some people who last season were miles off the pace now being front runners, and vice versa, because of how different drivers can adapt to different game physics.
Yeah, obviously each game's going to favour or not favour each driver specifically a bit more or a bit less. Obviously some drivers think they've picked up pace, some will think they've lost it, but at the end of the day, it's about who can adapt to the new game the quickest, at least for Season 1, I feel. And obviously, as we go through the season, it'll sort of average out more, and I think you'll see the generic front runners sort of pick up their pace as they go along. But the first couple of races could be really interesting, because it could be quite a mixed-up grid from track to track, obviously.
Yeah, and it does set up, for some guys at least, some very, Cinderella story championship runs towards the end. Guys that maybe aren't going to get the pace off right off the start on this game. And who is that? Is that Hartmann, who's had an issue? It's Victor in the Alpine who's had an issue. And I think he's kept that car mostly out of the barriers, so he's going to be able to keep going.
No damage from what I can see.
Yeah, probably just a nice little 180 around the track there. We were on board with Rusty Olacan, so we'll give him the share of his camera again. But like I was saying, yeah, some guys who might struggle on this new game right off the bat, getting the grip of it mid-season and starting to put in, some strong, consistent results towards the end of the year, pick up a couple wins late in the season, and who knows, maybe they end up putting a championship charge in the last 4 or 5 races. So will be very interesting to see, because it's so much unknown on a new game with this many changes.
The Ferrari goes around and hits the wall. That's another casualty gone
Racer,
on the right-hand
yeah,
side
and I just missed getting on board with him before the crash, so we're gonna have to wait, I believe, for Victor, who's actually going right on another lap right now. They're on the used set of tires. See what happened there, but he gets a big moment, and these curbs are catching everybody out. We've got half our grid already in qualifying, just pushing so hard that it's the end of their session. And remember what I was saying when earlier about or I think it might have been you, about just setting a time, getting it out there. When you get DNFs like that, you can't improve your time. So some guys probably not very happy with their lives, with their laps. Sorry, starting P4, P5, or P6. Yeah, I mean, if maybe they're unhappy with their lives as well, but I'm not one to judge for that. So let's stick to laps for now.
Let's stick to that.
I think I need a little bit more coffee in me before I keep
Yeah.
speaking.
Well, as the checker flag has dropped on this qualifying session, Michael Fures is coming through purple sector 1 according to Codemasters.
And I see that
Philip
as
Marshall's
well.
on a lap.
Yeah, it does
Rusty
look like
Oil
he's on a
Can's gotten
flyer
out
here.
of the way. I sort of hope he doesn't catch up to Philip Marshall here, so it doesn't hold him up too much. Rusty Oil Can getting out of the way, he's obviously backed off.
Yeah, and
Philip
nicely done there
Marshall
from
can do.
Rusty Illican to get out of the way. Oh, is that going to be invalidation? No!
No,
And
you can get away with running wide there quite a bit, I feel, from what I've seen.
It's
And
so
abused
finicky.
myself on time
Sometimes,
trial.
sometimes you get right back on and it invalidates you. Sometimes you run
Yeah.
super wide and it doesn't. Now, will it pay off in terms of time here for Michael Fures as he comes around the final corner and gets a nice exit? Is going to be pole position.
He
It will
does
be. And he gets it done by 3/10. That's a 1:14.755. Michael Fures takes provisional pole position here in our pre-season race for Division 4.
Yeah, only a tenth and a half between him and Mark. Obviously, Mark only got the one run in the qualifying session, a short qualifying session, obviously. But then the gap from first and second to third is quite the jump. Obviously, that could be set-up dependent. Some people set up to obviously benefit their tyres and a long race pace. Some drivers may be preferring that harsh, more aggressive qualifying setup. It'll be interesting to see what happens during the race. Obviously, a lot of chance for mistakes, obviously, as we've seen today in qualifying already. But yeah, it's going to be a race of attrition, I think, this 50% race coming up.
Absolutely. Are we taking bets on the amount of finishers we're getting?
Oh, we can do.
All right,
What's going to be the lower number, the amount of finishes or the amount of DNFs, maybe?
Yeah, that's the over/under, huh? All right, I'm gonna go with. I think we're gonna get. It's a long race. I don't think we're gonna get as many DNFs right off the bat. I think we're gonna finish with 6 drivers still racing at the end of this one.
I was going to go 6, but I'll go for 5, I think. I'm going to go for 5.
All right, you're gonna prices right me. All right.
Yeah, more the fact that I think there's more chance more go out than the chance that certainly more stay in than you sort of the bet.
Yeah,
also,
fair enough.
Side-by-side battling could cause some interesting carnage. Obviously, we had Hungary in real life, and that was interesting lap 1. Hopefully, we don't get the same.
Yeah, let's do hope there's no bowling alley at the end of this straightaway. Since we are in between 2 screens here, you guys can take a look at the shirt qualifying results. I'm going to take a look at our comments on the stream, see who's up in the chat here. And we've got Bryant P saying, come on, boys. I believe that's Captain Blade's account. I haven't seen him in the chat in a while, though, so I don't remember exactly. Vito's up in here cheering some people on. One Wing saying there's rain in the race. That's going to be, oh, that's a lot of rain, too. Oh, no.
So there might actually be the bowling alley then. I was going to question this. Is there actually a chance for a bowling alley?
Is it too late to change my bet to 4 finishers?
Yeah, but you might see people actually being a bit more conservative.
I would hope so.
Considering it's raining.
I would hope so, but the problem is,
blazing.
yeah, with rain and curbs like that, it doesn't matter how conservative you are. If you just touch the wrong curb at the wrong moment, the wrong way, that's it. That's all you can do. And also up in our comments here, or in our chat, Jack Bowie. Yes, Joshy, how are you, my friend? My turn to watch you. Coming to cheer on some of his buddies. Colin DeWitt cheering on Michael Fures. Kyle Hartman just cheering on the whole division. That's ISRL Hartman there in the race. Rotation is saying Daddy's home. Daddy's already in the chat, dude, and he's doing comms. It's me. Learn your place.
Is it full wets? I believe it is.
It's
is it? Yes,
let's take
wets.
it is full wets. Let's just put on the tire data. See if maybe nobody's gambled on the inters. That's how wet it is on this race. Look at the puddles. And
I don't think we'll be seeing any Lewis Hamilton-esque. Only one driver on the start of the grid. I don't think the rain's going to quite dry up that quickly.
No, and there's no red flags here to let the rain dry out. So I think. Rattle luck on there. Dave Mortimer says, after seeing the rain, 3 finishers. Nathan JV saying, Josh on comms.
Yes.
So it looks like everybody has got some fans.
Yes, love to see
even
it.
the comms team.
Oh, the boys, me and Niall, comms for this season. I bet there's going to be a lot of interesting comms to come throughout the rest of this season if they keep having weather like this. If we keep getting heavy rain like this every race, I'll be well happy to do comms. Here we go.
Now, funnily enough, last season Division 4 was on Wednesdays, and this is not an exaggeration, but the first 9 races of the season had rain in them. At some point,
that's a benchmark.
Yeah,
benchmark.
They weren't all full wets. Some of them was towards the end. Some of it was at the start. Sometimes it was just a little spot in the middle. But the first 9 races had rain, and it would be super funny for that streak to happen again. Maybe our Division 4 is cursed. But as the drivers come around here on the end of the formation lap, normally this is the part, the formation lap, where we talk about the standings and the battles and who is going to be the one to look for, who's going to try to put a push on the championship. But there's none of that. It's a preseason race right now. We don't know what to expect, and there's no past results. So I guess we're just going to have to wait, watch, and enjoy as the cars line up here on the grid. We're not getting any front-facing shots, but I do hope that's going to change. And it's a preseason race. At the end of the day, the results aren't going to matter. But the start of the season and starting off on the right foot is going to matter quite a lot to a lot of these drivers. Who is going to be able to put it in? And we'll see right now. 5 lights, they're off. And who's going to get a good start? Who's going to get a bastard? I think that's one of the Haas's with a bad getaway here. And Michael Furez is off and running. Look at the start he's had on everybody else. Ooh. Clean into turn 1 there. But no, I think he goes a little bit deep. That's going to let some of them catch up. I see a lot of guys fighting it out in the back there, trying to get onto them. But the timer boards on the side are all out of order. There's a Ferrari of one wing and Victor going side by side there through turn 3 and turn 2, and that's a lovely little battle as they get so close. And look at how much the grid is already split up with the rain, making it so hard to be next to other cars like that. It's a very tentative start from some of them. I think Greenwell and Gravel Trap losing a lot of time at the start, but who has lost positions? Actually, Hartman. Not too many people. Hartman, Marshall losing 2 positions. Racer in the Ferrari getting 3 of them, and Resilican up 2 as well. But best of all, I think we've gotten through the start with no bowling alley and no damage.
Yeah, I think I saw a few people running wide on the run up towards turn 4, but it seems fairly clean. And also thinking about it now, in hindsight, maybe it was due to some people, having slower quality times. Maybe they'd seen the rain coming and had a prepared wet setup. That would have been great preparation if they did.
And if they have, I think we got some people down the order there as Philip Marshall
runs wide.
Going a little bit wide there again at the bottom of your screen. That's a great point, that some of these guys might be running some different setups in preparation for that rain. And could we see some charges up the field? Rusty Olican, Racer Pone already looking pretty solid so far. They had great starts. Rusty up into the top 5 after starting 7th, and Racer starting 9th, up into 6th. Oh, but yeah, he does go wide there. That's going to give Racer an opportunity to get another position there, side by side into turns 3. Oh, Rusty Olican stays ahead. That was a great defensive move there. Racer Pone getting a little squirrely on the exit. Is that going to give Hartman the opportunity to catch up to him? No, is Hartman not able to convert that into straight line speed down the next straightaway here? Not that you would want to make an overtake around turn 4 in the dries, much less in the rain. And the positions are going to stay as is for the time being.
Yeah, obviously gaps opening up early doors, but the 3 leaders just seem to have just sort of waltzed away. Victor trying to hang on to one wing here, but this midfield battle's really where it's at the moment, with all of them sort of 5 to 6 tenths behind each other at the moment. Really tight from top to bottom in the midfield. Yeah, Rusty Olican obviously at the front of it.
There's quite a nice little pack there. You're right, in the middle. Philip Marshall is going to have some defending to do, and I'm seeing yellow flags. Hartman down the inside of Razor Pone, and it didn't look like there's much contact. There's a Alpha Tower. I think that's Marco who's spun it around there, and that's going to be down to the last place. Oh no, Hartman! I think there's contact on the front wing there. That sent the car around, and he's going to lose some positions. No damage, I think, though.
Marco will be into the pit lane. He has end plate damage. Marco was just sort of in a gap of his own, I think, pushing too hard, maybe to try catch Michael Furs up front. Pushed too hard in towards the penultimate corner and lost it. He's got front wing end plate damage. He will be in. And that's another thing. This year, damage is so much more of a factor, because even a smallest bit of end plate damage can knock off so much pace, knock your pace around so much compared to last year.
Yeah, and what's more is that you can take more of it. Of course, there's floor, there's side pods, and rear wing damage this season, and it means that, you know, last season, if we're being honest, sometimes you would make contact with somebody and you wouldn't even be scared. You're like, oh, well, I hit him wheel to wheel, there's no way I'm going to take damage from this. And this season, that's a whole new ballgame, because if somebody slides into you, and through no fault of your own, you could be severely hindered by that.
Rust Ilkan went deep into the middle section chicane, which gives Racer just a bit of a look. Oh, and now Philip Marshall's hit him. It's getting a bit tasty in this midfield battle. Cozy goes round the outside of Philip Marshall and spins him, gives him a light tap. That's his front wing fully gone.
And I don't know if that was Marshall drifting wide into Cozy, or Cozy closing the door there, but that's a virtual safety car, and that's going to bring a bit of a pause to the race here. And that looked almost like a battle straight out of Singapore a few years back, where there's like 4 cars seemingly trying to cover one position on the racetrack. Everybody was so tight together there, and unfortunately for Philip Marshall, coming out on the worst end of it. I do hope with the virtual safety car he's going to be able to get most of a pit stop in. That way at least he's not going to be too severely affected by that, but he was running quite well there in the Williams.
Yeah, it was sort of one mistake from Rust Ilkan made Racer go a bit deep into the corner behind him, which meant Cozy went deep, which meant Philip Marshall sort of... It's almost like a domino effect of one went deep, so another went deep, so then sadly for Philip Marshall, he was the one to sort of lose out biggest out of that.
Yeah, and as Martin Brundle would say, a Constantiner effect. That's the purest description of what it is. And oh, look at the restart here. Cozy got a huge run on Racer Pone, and unfortunately just couldn't get the AlphaTauri close enough there for him to try to make a move into turn 4. But I definitely think Cozy would have braved that. He does look quite desperate to get around the Ferrari, and in the AlphaTauri you can see he's got the pace, but just not enough to make a convincing overtake stick right now. Can he get by maybe on one of the straightaways? Sector 2 is just impossible to overtake here unless the other driver makes a mistake, so it's just a matter of sticking as close as you can to the car ahead.
Yeah, and obviously another phrase that Martin Brundle loves to use.
Actually, sorry to interrupt there.
Racer does make the mistake.
That's exactly the kind of mistake I was saying. That's what you need your opponents to make if you want to make an overtake in one of these tight sections around the Hungaroring, and just like that, Cozy up into P5.
Yeah, and it's a different thing to catch someone, a different one to overtake them, obviously. But you feel like Rust Ilkan was maybe like the cork in the bottle here for Cozy. Needed him to get out of the way, get past, and then he might be able to... Oh, as he does go deep!
And another one!
They're all getting out of the way of him. Maybe it's the commentator's curse coming into effect or what this early doors, but they're all just getting out of the way of Cozy, it looks like, at this point, to let him go.
Cozy's got some force powers. He's like pushing his opponents out of the way as they get to braking zones with nothing but the power of his mind. That's 2 drivers in the span of like 4 corners that end up going deep, and Cozy just like that up into P4. He's got a bit of a gap here to close up to Victor, but if he can keep up this pace, I do think he's faster than the front runners right now. So he's got to keep it clean, and I think in no time we're going to see Cozy maybe fighting there in the podium positions. Don't want to jinx him, but that's what it's looking like with the pace he's got so far. And Racer Pone, Rusty Oil Can going at it right behind him.
Yeah, I was just checking. Cozy ran 2 seconds a lap quicker than Victor last time around, but I think he made a slight mistake, as Victor lost about 2 seconds to Cozy and the drivers around him, so maybe that's a small mistake. But they're running around the same pace on average. Obviously, it's only early doors here. A lot of fuel on these cars still. Yeah. So we'll see.
And with the... what is the word? Engine modes. There you go, engine modes. Yeah. This year not being that much of a thing. You can't go into Richmond. You can't burn that extra fuel. So if you've got too much fuel right now, you might just end up being way slower than the guy ahead of you. You got to figure out how to shed that fuel. If you don't have enough, you're gonna have to save later in the race. So a bit more of a long-term strategy here with fuel. We can't just slap it into lean on the corners and put it in rich down the straights and hover around, the perfect amount of fuel for the entire race. Or give yourself less fuel because you use rich mix for 3 laps and then save for a bit. You got to play this fuel game throughout the whole race. So some guys are going to play it badly at first. Some guys are going to play it really well. And it should shake everything up here as we get further into this Grand Prix.
Ooh, as Fallen Monkey goes a bit deep into turn 4, manages to keep it on the road by just straightening it up the corner a bit more. But he's now next up behind Rostokan, who seems to slowly be falling down the grid. Obviously, a good start can only take you so far in a race, sadly.
Yeah.
And then true pace comes out slowly. And obviously, the rain's a big equaliser for the pace.
And I do wonder, I mean, we did see Rusty Olacan getting close to some other cars here during the race. I do wonder if maybe during that battle where Philip Marshall ended up getting a little bit, rather unfortunately, knocked out of the way, maybe did Rusty Olacan take a little bit of damage that we can't see to the floor or parts of the front wing maybe? Is that costing him time?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. There's not really a great way to look, sadly, if there's any undisclosed damage. Obviously, rear wing and floor damages are really hard to see. As he goes deep now into the final corner, but Fallen Monkey sort of follows him through. Will he deploy? He does deploy his ERS, but doesn't get a good enough exit to follow Rusty Olacan through to turn 1. Let's see if Rusty Olacan gets it right into turn 1 this time with his braking. He does. Gets the car turned in nicely. And holds on for now from Fallen Monkey. He's only 6 tenths behind, but from the rest of the field, it's fairly large gaps from each driver to each driver. Koji's not also, as we were talking about earlier, hasn't really started to close that gap on Victor overly, a little bit here and there, but there seems to be fairly even pace at the moment.
It does seem like it's staying around 6 seconds. Victor, however, he is falling back from One Wing. So One Wing and Michael Fierez are pulling away here from the rest of this Division 4 grid. Now, Fallen Monkeys, whether or not he can make a move on Rusty Olacan, we will see soon. This is the closest battle on track, and it's gotten much closer there as Rusty Olacan is making mistakes here. And Fallen Monkeys, though, it looks like he does end up following him through a corner and going a little bit deep himself in the gap just like that, right back to where it was before. So, unfortunately, no can do on an overtake there. We haven't seen much of our leader so far, but I will give him a little bit of screen time. Look how far Michael Fierez is compared to the rest of this grid right now.
Yeah, One Wing starting to burn a bit of ERS down towards 40%. Michael Fierez on about 80%. I think Burning trying to maybe slowly start to catch him back up. But yeah, Fallen Monkey maybe, obviously with the dirty air behind and the rain in front of him with Rusty Olacan struggling to follow. Obviously also a man I want to sort of have a look at as well is Marco. Obviously he span around from second place. Let's see if he can push on now. He'll be on a 2-stop strategy more than likely. He'll probably have to pit again.
Yeah, assuming
he can push back through the field.
Assuming this rain stays with us, and it does look like it will at this point, showing no signs of coming down. I mean, we barely have a racing line on this track that doesn't have any puddles on it. So, but that is a fastest lap there from Marco, so definitely a man on the charge. We'll see how fast that gap to Philip Marshall ahead of him ends up closing down here. And let's go back on board with this Fallen Monkeys Rusty Olacan battle and see if Fallen Monkeys can close up to that McLaren. Now, that's going to help him as Rusty Olacan overcooks it on the exit, spins around, hits the wall. That's a damaged front wing
safety car.
And a
safety car.
Pit stop. Oh, no. And look at that. We're talking about shaking things up. Michael Fierez is going to see his lead vanish. Everybody else, more than likely, going to get a free pit stop in for some fresh, wet tires. At least I know I would. See if he can stick it out to the end after that. But more importantly, I think...
I can see.
And more
Nobody's
importantly,
coming in as it shows at the moment. I think from as it showed on the formation lap of the strategy, it was pretty much you go to about halfway length, put another set of wets on, and go to the end. So obviously... drivers not thinking they'll be able to take those softs to the end. Obviously, they know their tyre percentages. We don't. Rusty Olacan will be one man who's heading for the pit lane.
Yeah, and
in his tyre McLaren.
Yeah, I was going to say, more importantly, it does let Rusty Olacan and the other ones who've been affected by incidents earlier in this Grand Prix catch up. And so guys like Marco, who had an incident early on, now they're further down the grid, but they are trying to push back to the front. Well, it's just got a whole lot easier. You're saving a solid 30 seconds of gap from the leader that way, so making his job quite easy as we see Rusty Olican changing his front wing. And as everybody's going to queue up behind safety car here, we've got a whole new Grand Prix on our hands.
So the Williams driver is taking the gamble. He's not got much to lose from 11th place. Might as well take the free, stop the fresh rubber.
Yeah, Greenwell Army, you're right, pitting in there. Gravel Trap not having a great race here in his first outing in F1, but it's a tough Grand Prix. It's a tough racetrack.
Yeah, very difficult.
And it's a very difficult weather to make your debut in.
And this also puts who's behind him. It's Cozy in a bit of a weird situation, because when that green flag drops again for green flag racing, he's going to have a lap car slap bang in front of him that he has to get around before he can get after Victor. Unless Gravel Trap comes in now, which I don't think he will, he doesn't. So yeah, that means Cozy's got a lap car to get past first, and then he can get after Victor.
And yeah, and so the lap car shouldn't be too much of an issue. I wouldn't think you should pull over close to shortly after the restart, but that lap car gets a bad restart, could still affect Cozy.
Ooh, is he gone? I can't tell. It looked like, no, he hasn't. It looked like he was about to spin his McLaren around then, as it was the camera angle that I was on, but no, he manages to hold it. But yeah, it's hopefully shouldn't be in the way too much, but obviously if he gets a poor restart compared to everyone around him, which hopefully he doesn't do, and he can just get out of the way quite quickly, but you never know with the lap cars. It could really mess over what Cozy's trying to do in closing down those podium positions.
Yeah, as per the rules, lap cars need to let every lead lap car by the end of the first lap back under green after a safety car. So essentially, anybody who ends up behind him in blue flag situation, you'd have to let by. If he is the only lapped car, unfortunately, that does mean he's a lap down on everybody, but it's better than having a ghosted car running through everybody. Hopefully, Gravel Trap knows this. He does strike me as somebody who would read the rule book. I do hope he knows this. If not, I don't think it's going to be too much of a hindrance for the guys at the front, but guys at the back that might be closer in pace to Gravel Trap could have a hard time navigating that McLaren if he's not willingly letting them by.
Yeah, safety car, I don't believe is in this lap as it's like still on. I was going to say, as Greenwell Army's trying to catch the safety car pack right now, pushing to get round. Obviously, as safely as possible in these horrific conditions, to put it bluntly. It's not the greatest conditions to be racing in, but now, for someone like Marco, who's already spun round but has shown the pace to be at the front, it shows that, he can hopefully catch back up. As one wing comes into the pit lane, does he have damage, or is he just coming in for a tyre change?
We'll see if the team's got a front wing for him. No, they don't. So yeah, that's just a front wing change. A tire change for one wing. It's a bit weird to do it now, late in the safety car, rather than...
Ooh, collision. Gravel Trap has made contact with Victor. The lap car has made contact.
Yeah, and that
both a 5-second penalty.
Does look like a rear collision there. Probably Gravel Trap sliding into Victor. It is going to cause Victor, though, on his pit stop, isn't it? As he's going to have to serve that. He has not pit yet. So, unfortunate for Victor. If he does pick up penalties, like other penalties, he can get that 5-second removed at the end of the race. But you're still going to have to serve it in the pit stop. So either way, that's definitely not what Victor wanted. At this point in the race, we've got 24 laps to go. We're on lap 11 out of 35 here around the Hungaroring. And this racetrack is, I think you mentioned it during qualifying, it's a bit of a tight one. People do call it Monaco without the walls from time to time. And it's a hard racetrack to overtake on, which means, undercuts, overcuts, that's how you get positions here most often. It's hard to do that in the wets, though. So with the safety car in this lap, we just saw that notification on our screen.
Ooh,
I do wonder.
Michael first almost rear ends the safety car.
And yeah, you know it's coming in, Michael. You can wait. You
can slow down.
He's very eager to get going, isn't he?
I was gonna say, I don't know if he's done one before, but he's very close to it considering it's coming in. Most people would back off quite early on and give themselves.
Yeah, and that's what he's done now. He's stopped now, and he's going to back the pack up. I think he's going to go right, nice, quick, and early, try to get him by surprise. Victor having a look-see around the outside. Oh,
he almost
and he
drops
goes.
It. I was going to say that. Is he going to drop it under traction? But he gets away now with his ERS.
Victor is just not able.
Choosing to be,
not able to capitalize on that, wasn't he? He saw Michael Fierez slip, and I don't know if he hesitated, but could not get the power down and capitalize on that mistake. And there is a car around. That's Hartman in the Alpine with a spin. Ooh. He's kept it out of the wall.
As well as, who's gone Greenwell Army's gone flying. Oh my God, he went flying across the track and into the barrier. Philip Marshall's gone round as well. He's got what's that called? End plate damage.
Yeah.
And Hartman also has no damage that I can see of. Greenwell Army lost the whole wheel there. They went flying across my screen. That almost shocked me a bit there. But back to the race leader. Victor is now 2 seconds behind. Michael Fury is pulling out the gap early doors. But yeah, that's surprised it's not another safety car. Obviously, I know they don't like to throw a safety car straight after one's come in, but.
Yeah, I'm
a lot of debris.
Quite shocked as well. I didn't see what happened there on my side. I was on board with Hartman. There must have been.
The monkey.
Oh, did he keep that out of the wall?
Yeah, he did.
It does look like he did, but he had to slow way down. He's lost quite a few positions, and he's packed behind his old trusty pal, Rusty Oil Can. And I'm sure he's not going to be pleased to see the back of that McLaren again.
Deep in the penultimate corner now. Runs a bit deep, but manages to get the traction down okay out into the final corner now.
Yeah, somebody who's had a great restart is the AlphaTauri of Marco. Already up to P5. Make that P4 as he goes for... I thought he was going to go for a move. Breaks way early, and he had that move. No! What has happened there for Marco? It looked like he had the move for P4 down pat. He backs out of it early and then loses it on the corner. And that's going to be all the way back down 9th place for Marco, down 5 positions from where he could have been. And that's not any fault of his teammate. It's not the fault of anybody behind him, I don't think. So just an unfortunate turn of events there for the second AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I think he almost went to back out of it, but then didn't know if he should back out of it and sort of second guessed himself, and by then he had dropped the car and just had the rear end go round.
Yeah, I think you're right, and reacting a little too late to be able to catch it, really.
Yeah, whilst that was happening, Philip Marshall's coming for his stop, but sadly also sped into the pit lane, so his day goes from bad to worse in the Haas.
Yeah, Cozy.
Catastrophe, if we could say a bit of a pun there, but one wing in Cozy
and one wing indeed. And Cozy, I thought he was going to put a bit more of a fight there. One wing gets down the inside quite easily. It's going to give Cozy the opportunity to go around the outside, though.
They collide.
And yeah, a bit of a
there from one wing side, pulling Cozy's front left.
A bit of a contact, and is Cozy going to pit now? He has not pit yet. I think he's going to go right. Well, I don't want to be trapped behind him. We're getting near the midway point of the race. I'm going to pit for my next set of wet tires. But One Wing and Cozy absolutely getting as close as you can get without taking damage, I think. One Wing prevails, stays P4.
Yeah, One Wing, the man who was second on track, then decided to pit, so he's realistically, if he can take those to the end, which I think he should be able to, obviously you might have to drag them a little bit, but should be able to take them to the end. Basically now is a free stop on basically everyone in front of him. The only other man who stopped, who's near him, is Ross the Oil Can, and then the other people who have stopped is Mark who's in 8th, Cozy who's in 9th, and Philip Marshall who's in 10th, and Gravel Trap, sorry, who's in 11th as well, but who is a lap down, has also stopped. So he's basically got a free stop on everyone in front of him.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to have to let you take over for a second there. We've got some childish trolls in our chat. So just trying to ban the accounts here.
That's right. But anyway, we'll get back on board with. We'll go on board with Racer for now, as he's sort of the closest man to the person in front of him, which is Victor, as he's closing up through the final sector, but goes a bit deep there into was the third last corner, and now that's the gap extended. But oh, here we go. Fallen Monkey and Rusty Ulcan back again, battling. Within a second of each other. Obviously no DRS due to the wet weather. Imagine DRS was available during the weather, that would have been even more chance of bowling balls. But yeah, this battle will recommence now. Fallen Monkey and Rusty Ulcan. Rusty Ulcan has, what penalty is he has? 3-second time penalty. So realistically, Fallen Monkey doesn't have to get past him, but obviously if he wants to progress further up the field, he does want to get past him as soon as possible if he can close that gap.
All right. Sorry about that. We've got some grown men acting like children in our chat, thinking it's funny to spam some nasty stuff because they're still bitter about a 5-second penalty that happened 4 months ago. So that's awesome. Congrats, guys.
Great.
So, yeah, sorry. Those toxic bastards aside, let's get back to our Grand Prix here. And what have I missed there?
Cozy's gone round. That's what you've missed. Cozy has gone round at the exit of turn 1. No damage from what I can see. I don't really know.
Doesn't look like it from
no
here. No front wing damage in at least, so that's good. Now, if he can get back towards the rest of the pack, I think he's already made his stop. He doesn't have to pit again, but that is certainly a big time loss there for Cozy, as he has to, catch up quite a bit of a gap out on the track.
Cozy went for the undercut, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so
he did.
Not going to work now with the mistake. As Racer comes into the pit lane for his undercut, hopefully he's hoping to undercut Victor and Michael Fures in front. One Wing now takes over third place, the man who stopped under the safety car. And
Rusty Ulcan and Fallen Monkey's still getting close. Now they're both getting a free position here as Racer pits for his pit stop. And Fallen Monkey's, no matter what he's doing, it seems he just can't get close enough to Rusty Ulcan. Now is that maybe setups? Is that just the dirty air around this track? Or is Rusty Ulcan just that good at defending?
Oh, who's gone round this time? It's Marco's gone round this time at turn 1. The AlphaTauri's really struggling with turn 1, bless them. Yeah, I think maybe a bit of dirty air, and also the fact that Rusty Ulcan's got 9 lap pressure wet tyres, maybe coming to effect there, but maybe later in the race Fallen Monkey can push back through and he'll have much fresher wets compared to Rusty Ulcan after Fallen Monkey comes in. But I think around now is when we're going to see the start of the pit stops.
And if you haven't pit by now, your tires must be getting quite worn. And at this point, it does look like the rain is here to stay. Unless these guys think, maybe I can switch to inters if I stick it out. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't pit right now.
No, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I mean, you can see a little bit of a drier line coming through. Obviously, we don't know what the weather's going to be doing. So it's very interesting to see as Fallen Monkey goes a bit deep there, but no, there's no real reason why you wouldn't pit. Maybe if you just want to have the fresher wets later on in the Grand Prix, maybe I could understand, but then
you end up
opening
behind.
yourself to being undercut. Yeah, you're opening yourself up to be undercut by people like One Wing. Oh, who he has to get out of the throttle very quickly. He almost went round at turn 1. But yeah, also, to be fair, our bets of how many drivers are going to be less, well, that's not looking good, as there's only one man out, Greenwell Army.
And, a good thing we didn't bet any actual money on that, because we both would have lost. These guys, I gotta give it to them, they were pushing real hard in quali, and I think we might have been a little over enthusiastic on our expectations of
I think maybe seeing the wet weather as well, they've sort of toned it in a bit as well.
Absolutely. Or maybe you were right all along and they're all using wet setups, and that's why they handled poorly on the dry track, and now they're just tuned in, and this car couldn't break grip if it wanted to, unless you're an AlphaTauri, apparently. So Who knows? Either way, these guys have done a great job at keeping it out of the barriers. Now that we've talked about it, expect about 6 DNFs in the next 4 laps because we brought it up.
Commentator's cars, yeah.
But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, leaders staying out once again. Michael Fures and Victor both staying out once again. But One Wing is now closing in on Victor, so there's a 3-second time penalty for Philip Marshall, who's down in P9. But One Wing closing up on Victor now with his 11-lap fresher wet compound of tyre. But yeah, it's fairly easy to tell.
No,
it's
that's
Victor's
Victor.
gone round.
Oh no!
Rusty oil can. If you can, on the right-hand side. It is on the right-hand side. Safety car.
We've got a safety car, and did we just? Is this it? The start of the curse?
Yeah,
we're gonna have a bowling alley on the restart, and we're gonna end up with our original predictions. Oh no! Cozy takes a drive-through.
For Cozy, yeah. That is a bit of a shame. His day's not been the greatest either. He's now made, I believe, 2 stops. He has made 2 stops.
Yeah.
And well, now I expect to be seeing all the leaders pit. And I say all of them. At this point, it's Michael Fures and Fallen Monkey are probably next to pit. Is that another drive-through for
I'm not. I saw that pop up, and I'm not sure. I hope not.
Let me go have a look in the race director. It says 2 penalties.
Rusty has gotten one as well.
It's 2 separate drive-through penalties, speeding under the safety car.
That's not what you want. It's not if you're Cozy, not if you're Rusty Oil Can, who's got a drive-through as well. And Cozy is gonna have to do it twice. That is, that's the end of him being competitive in this race. Effectively, there's no way you can recover from that. And Rusty Oil Can as well, because they can't serve it under safety car. They have to wait for the restart.
Yeah, and Rusty Oil Can, who had pretty much a perfect undercut setup as well, to put himself into P2. He will be P2 on the restart, or possibly P3, as Michael Furious has made his stop coming out of this box now, coming out of the pit lane. Will One Wing get past? He will just about, but obviously Michael Furious has been the class of the field today, to be honest, and with the freshest wets as well. You may expect him to get past One Wing quite quickly on the restart.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still dealing with some of the fallout from those trolls.
Yeah, that's fine. As you said earlier, rather I get it all out now in pre-season compared to when the actual season starts. But yeah, a few drivers coming in. The Red Bull's been in, the Alpine's been in, Marco's retired from the session in the pit lane. So obviously he's not happy with his results today, but obviously 18 laps. I know it's wet weather running, but a good 18 laps in the tank, to say the least. As Victor's left the session after his DNF. But yeah, you could see the likes of Michael Fures and maybe Fallen Monkey and ISRL Hartman now, all on fresh wets, pushed back through the field. And then obviously Rusty Oil Can's got a drive-through to serve. Cozy's got 2 drive-throughs to serve on the restart. So, yeah, and the grid's fairly spread out at the moment.
Right, so, sorry about that. So, if anybody is curious on what the hell was happening in our chat, some former drivers are being children. That's about it. Stuff happened. They're still not over it. It's been like 5 months, 4 months. It happened before the end of last season, which was already 2 months ago. Now, since they didn't have enough fun being toxic in our server and on our Facebook pages, decided to stop by our stream and throw some nice words around. So, I mean, sorry if you had to witness those and read them. Obviously, we didn't catch them quite long enough because we were commentating the race, or quite quick enough, sorry, because we're commentating the race. But yeah, they're not people we associate with. They're not people that we want in our streams or our chat. So we'll do our best to try to ban their multiple burner accounts as they come about. And yeah, hopefully we don't have to deal with that again. So sorry if you had to read all those stupidities, guys.
Yeah, so whilst you have gone discussing about that, which is just horrific really to have, especially on any occasion, but especially like something like a pre-season race, which is meant to be, obviously it's meant to be serious, but still a bit of fun at the end of the day for all the drivers to get out on the track and get used to the game again. But whilst that was happening, Racer hit the back of Rusty. Oil Cannon now has end plate damage, so we might be seeing him come in at the end of this lap for a new front wing and a pair of wets. 3 laps after he changed onto this pair of wets, so that's not gone perfectly for him. But he should still come out in a fairly competitive position, probably behind Cozy. But if the safety car does come in this lap, it's not the greatest thing to happen for his race, shall we say.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, sorry, this is a weird race. I'm completely in and out of this thing right now. Trying to, yeah.
Sort people out, basically.
Just try to figure out what the hell just happened. But yeah, I guess we're living, yeah, like Sweet Crown, or sorry, Wooter said in our Discord, we're living in their head rent free, and given the current rent prices around the world, that's pretty good. So yeah, it's a small space. That's probably why the rent is so cheap. Now. Another lap under safety car here, and oh my goodness, what just happened there to Racer?
He missed the pit lane entry to begin with, so then cut back across, and as he came into the pit lane, I think he went to put his foot down and then sort of half spun it, dropped it a little bit, and then lost the rest of his front wing that he had lost. And he's gambling for the intermediate tyres. A bit of interesting thing to see in this race now. Somebody gambling for the inters. I mean, a bit of a dry line slowly forming, but not really. So you could see, I wonder if he's just run out of wets, and he's gone for a pair of inters. But
well, he's done 2. That's a second stop. I think you get 3 pairs of wets, so you would have an extra pair of wets. I think we're just seeing a gamble here. Or
I mean, yeah, no reason not to.
Yeah, it's you're pretty far back. You just broke your wing. You were going to be last anyways. I think he was coming into the pits to serve a penalty.
Yeah,
if
he had
anything.
damage anyway. Got it under collision. He hit the back of Rusty oil can on the beginning of that lap and got end plate damage anyway. So he was going to come in anyway. Had a penalty to serve. Why not take a gamble? You know, I mean, like at the end of the day, as I said before, obviously. We want it to be taken seriously and people not do stupid things, but at the end of the day, it's just a bit of practice and a bit of fun for these drivers to get back out on track before season starts next week.
And
yeah,
like we mentioned, this race isn't going to matter at the end of the day. Obviously, you shouldn't do stupid things because we're all here to take it seriously. And it's no fun for the other drivers on track if not exactly. if not everybody's trying their hardest, but. This is probably the best place to take a gamble like that and put, I guess objectively, what is probably the worst of the 2 tires, hoping that it pays off by the end of the race, because at the end of the day, you don't have anything to lose if you do that. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe Racer is gonna turn out at like a genius here, because he gets rid of his 5-second penalty as well. That's gonna be very, very clutch at the start of. At the end of the race.
Yeah, as we get back to green flag running here. Oh, as both the leaders lose it slightly out the exit of turn 1. Not the greatest restart from one wing. I think struggling for traction a bit like Michael Fures did. Oh, as Cozy goes in the pit. He's retired in the pit lane. Ignore me.
I guess not wanting to. That's because he tried to serve his drive-through right away. But you can't serve a drive-through on the same lap the safety car comes in. Yeah, it has to be the lap after. And so he probably went for a regular pit stop, which means he's still in for 2 drive-throughs. And with only 13 laps to go, I don't blame him there for wanting to just end the suffering now. It's a preseason. There's no point in doing 13 laps dead last. Unfortunately for us, he also left the session and he was the host. So I do hope that. Yeah, I do hope that we don't end up with a host glitch here, but all in all, it's a preseason. Big side-by-side battle between Rusty Olcan and Hartman. That ends with Hartman on the losing end of it once again as he spins there. I don't know if anybody was at fault there. From my point of view, it looked like racing incident pure, but I'm sure the drivers feel a little differently about it.
Yeah, and obviously Rusty Olcan now comes into service drive-through, so that's obviously not the greatest time you'd want to have a crash with someone when they're about to come in and serve a drive-through, but that means probably for Fallen Monkey, he's probably ecstatic. He
sigh of
doesn't have to
relief.
see the back of that. Yeah, doesn't have to see the back of that McLaren for any more laps.
Yeah.
Gets into the podium positions. And Philip Marshall, someone who was not having the greatest day, has now come through, and now he's in 4th place. Obviously, with penalties in hand, 8 seconds worth, but still a good recovery considering he was at one point, I think, 11th or 10th possibly.
Yeah, and a racer behind him only has 3 seconds in penalties last I checked. And that is still the case.
However,
so
he does have the intermediate tyres, which we don't know how they're faring. Actually, I'll go have a look. I'll compare their...
He's dropping a little bit. He's dropping pretty consistently, it seems.
36.1 last lap, and Philip Marshall did a 34.9, so about 1.5, 2 seconds different in the tyres right now, so it's obviously not quite the crossover point, but...
No, it could.
Yeah, I don't think, unless it's going to dry up later.
Yeah, could it come between now and the end of the race? I have to...
Yeah, it's sort of hard to tell when the rain's drying up a bit more, because obviously we can't... There's not really a racing line forming at this point.
Yeah, and sometimes it dries up very quickly as well.
Yeah.
So it comes out of nowhere, and it even catches the drivers by surprise. So it's kind of up in the air here. Maybe, who knows? Maybe those tires are going to pay off. We've got Gravel Trap, who's lost it, and that's another DNF
again.
And listen, I don't want to say we jinxed it, but that's 5.
We said there hasn't been a lot of... we said there's not been a lot of DNFs, and then suddenly, cupping like flies, bless them.
I'm just saying, in like the 6 laps since we said that, we've gotten 4 DNFs.
4
so,
DNFs.
I don't want to say
ISRL Hartman into the pit. As we talk about, ISRL Hartman into the pit lane. But also, this maybe gives racers some time to probably pray, more than anything, that it dries up a bit in the next... Knowing our safety cars, 6 laps. But no, the next couple of laps hopefully, as Hartman goes for a front wing change and a new pair of wet compound tyres, so he doesn't gamble on the intermediates. Rusty Orkan doing a 5-second time penalty, and then goes for a pair of wets as well. But yeah, Racer's probably hoping that it dries up during this safety car period, that his intermediates are probably the quickest tyre.
It does buy him some precious time, you're right, and I don't know if I'm surprised or not, to be honest. I was about to say, I'm surprised nobody else gambled for the Inters, but at this point...
Maybe they're listening.
Yeah.
I just read out his times. Maybe they listened to me reading out the time differences per lap and then went, nah, we'll stick to the wets.
They're stream sniping strategies over in Div 4, so... who knows? Yeah, maybe they listened in. They went, all right. Well, racers kind of trash on those inters, or not racers, sorry, but the inters are trash on this track.
Yeah, the inters are just a bit trash.
So who knows? Maybe they're listening. Maybe they're just going, well, you know what? I'll let him judge, and if he wins the race, then I'll just pit after and take a second place.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going
to struggling to keep up to the safety car at the moment, so I wouldn't put a bet on it that he's going to, have the conditions get better for him, but it's not been the greatest race in terms of getting drier as the race goes on, which would have been, I think, the greatest way it could have gone from wet to dry or dry to wet, could have been the most interesting to see the crossovers, but we're stuck with a full wet race. No, I'm not going to complain at the end of the day. Fallen Monkey almost hits Michael Furious' rear end coming up to turn 1.
Yeah, we saw that from Philip Marshall's angle on the stream here, and it can get a little hairy under safety car, but that's all right. Now, what was I was going to bring up something, and it's completely slipped my mind. But lap 25 out of 35. Under safety car here. This should hopefully be the last one. We've got 7 drivers left in this preseason race. If you're tuning in, I guess later in the broadcast, we've got 8 viewers there. It did peak at around 16, but I think that was when all the trolls were in. So thank you to everybody who's still watching. Make sure to go on our Facebook page and our Twitter and our Instagram. Links are in the description. And check out our partners. We haven't updated our description for the Season 5 things. I completely forgot. So make sure to give all of our partners a bit of love. Advanced Sim Racing, our newest partner, a sim rig and chassis and everything manufactured out of Eastern Canada, just like the league is. And we've got IMB Racewear, who is graciously making all of our merch. So as well as JPA Standard, who this man Hartman is representative of. So it's a company that he's associated with. So thank you to all three of our partners for supporting us here as we launch into Season 5, and as these drivers launch into what is most likely the last restart of this race. At least I would hope so.
Wouldn't put a bet on it. I was going to say I wouldn't put a bet on that, but
yeah.
yeah.
We did put a bet
on
we did put a bet on 6 DNFs, and it looks like we're getting pretty close. So, you know.
Yeah, I bet on 5, so we're getting quite close. 9 laps to go.
This is a 2-car collision. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that I don't know what I'm really hoping for it, but what we are seeing here is Hartman go down the inside of Racer Palm, whose intermediates haven't given him the best restart, and Ross Doyle can now go and have a look down the inside.
And he does, yeah. And, those intermediates are, I think, quite conclusively not the tires to be on right now, as Racer immediately loses those positions on the restart. Further ahead, though, Fallen Monkeys has not gotten the same restart as our 2 leaders, Michael Furious and One Wing, having a great little battle at the front here. Unfortunately, we're at the Hungarian, so we're not going to see too many move attempts. But if Michael Furious can get back ahead of One Wing, this could... Oh, that's not good at all. Now, can One Wing make those tires last? The tires, 6 laps old for Michael Furious, 14 laps old for One Wing, and that's the power. That's an extended undercut, but I guess it counts as an undercut nonetheless. Fallen Monkeys behind them with 6-lap old tires as well. So if One Wing's tires really do fall off the cliff, it could spell disaster, and it could spell more than 1 position lost. Philip Marshall and 4th place is, like you said, having a good race, given what the bad luck he's had earlier. Hartman, who's fought back quite a few spins, still running P5, and trying to have a go on the Haas here. There's a yellow flag, and I think that might have been Racer.
You say spin, we see a Ferrari spin around the penultimate corner in his intermediates. That's really dropped him out the gap.
Yeah, and
who was in front.
Yeah, not only were those inters not the tires to be on, they're not offering him enough grip to just get around the circuit, pointing the right way. One Wing extending his gap slightly. Fallen Monkeys is now 1.5 seconds behind our leaders, but with Philip Marshall right on his heels, and behind him Hartman, so he's not quite out of the blue yet. It does look like he's not going to be making any gains on our 2 front runners, so he's going to have to focus on defense now and try to keep the Haas and the Alpine firmly behind him. Behind Hartman is Rusty Olacan, who's hanging in there. I'm sure Fallen Monkeys is going to be very, very sure to keep that McLaren behind him.
Yeah, and obviously, as we're talking about the gaps to leaders, Michael Furious is at his fastest lap, or anyone's fastest lap of this Grand Prix for Sector 1. Sector 2 not quite purple this time round, but he dropped off to about 1.2, 1.3 behind One Wing, and has caught it right back up. Maybe he's running slightly less downforce, so he's quicker through Sector 1 with the big back straight, and then the second DRS straight as well. That's normally there if DRS was activated, but... Here we'll see, will he get a run on One Wing coming up to turn 1? I don't think he will. I think he's just too far away and doesn't quite get the traction on him. But he does set a fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 31.123.
Yeah, One Wing going quite defensive there, just trying to break the toe as well as prevent Michael Furious from attempting anything on the inside. Michael Furious does not bite, and he does stay. Just keeps his line. He's got a lot of overtake. If I pull up the telemetry here on the broadcast, you'll notice 91% battery for Michael Furious, 44% for One Wing. So I don't know about you. I'm sensing a kind of an attack mounting up here, and I think that fastest lap is gonna be probably the start of it, as he starts to push the car, get the tires properly warmed up. Oh, it might be the end of it too. Oh, he keeps it out of the wall. What a save by Michael Furious there, as he almost loses it, but he keeps his race together. just barely. No damage, no contact with the wall. Michael Fierez keeps the Aston Martin pointing the right way. Now, though, he's got a 3.5 second gap to One Wing, who's essentially gotten a nice and easy cruise to victory unless the Aston Martin can catch up. Now, he's already going to start pulling away from Monkeys again. Can he close the gap? We'll see. He's going to need a couple more fastest laps to put it closer to One Wing by the end of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and as Fallen Monkey was kind of coming through to catch Michael Fierez, always Michael Fierez has a moment again with the front end looking to go towards that barrier. But yeah, Fallen Monkey was kind of catching up, and then as he went to brake, a bit of the polystyrene brake board kind of maybe got caught under his front wing, but as he went to brake, his car did like a little hop almost over the polystyrene. So maybe just not helping with the braking into the middle sector chicane. But yeah, Fallen Monkey now probably looking towards Michael Fierez, and the fact that he does have a 3-second time penalty. So if he can stay within those 3 seconds with 6 laps to go, you never know.
We'll wait and see. It's going to be an interesting 6 laps there. Still, nobody taken up on our offer of proving me right and DNFing between now and the end of the race. It's going to be, hopefully, a cracking race right to the end. Michael Fierez, gaining on Fallen Monkeys, not gaining a whole lot on One Wing. See that Ferrari navigating the chicane there, and followed by the Aston Martin and the Red Bull. It's going to be an interesting top 3, but it could still get shuffled around. 6 laps to double that gap to Fallen Monkeys, or else he might just lose the position on penalties. Monkeys is quite safe. If he gets overtaken by the Haas, if he gets overtaken by Hartman, and if he gets overtaken by Rusty Oil Can, so long as he stays within 3 seconds of Rusty Oil Can, he's got the position. Everybody else's penalties. So he just has to race his race, get to the end, and not get involved with these team battle politics. So you could be on for a good result there. If who knows, maybe he keeps the gap to Michael Fierez within 3 seconds, and he nets himself an extra little spot. There's one of the fastest laps I said Michael Fierez needed, and he's got 5 laps to get a few more.
Yeah, and obviously it's not a great thing, I think, if you're the leader and then you're seeing the guy behind you, or in any scenario, you're the guy in front and the guy behind you setting fastest lap after fastest lap. It's not a great thing to see coming up behind you, is it? And that green Aston Martin will soon be coming up behind the Ferrari if One Wing doesn't allow himself to just back off a bit and let Michael Fierez catch up. He doesn't want that happening. As Michael Fierez hits another purple Sector 1. Obviously really strong in Sector 1, Michael Fierez. Maybe that's with a bit of a dry setup, so less downforce compared to what One Wing may have compared. Obviously, you never know. But yeah, Fallen Monkey, I think, is destined to fall outside this 3-second gap. Now, as Racer Clown picks up a 3-second time penalty, that intermediate gamble hasn't worked out for him. What is working is Michael Fierez pushing those wets, which are obviously 8 laps fresher compared to One Wing's wets. And if those wets do go off towards the end, maybe in the last 2 or 3 laps, it could be a real issue for One Wing. Because Michael Fierez doesn't look like he's going to seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
So, Michael Fierez, catching up quite rapidly to One Wing. The only, issue, he gets another fastest lap there, improving lap after lap. The only issue is that there's not much time left in this Grand Prix. So, can he get there in the next 4 laps? Wait and see. Behind them, Monkeys is doing a good job breaking away from his pack of cars, as Philip Marshall and Hartman getting a little bit left behind there. We've got 7 cars left in this preseason Grand Prix. Once again, I would like to take the opportunity to thank everybody who's watching it with us. We should have a full grid there for the next race. This race isn't completely mandatory, and so missing just a few drivers. Now, there are some other fairly quick drivers who are sitting out there. So One Wing, Michael Fierez probably won't be as, standing alone so much in the next Grand Prix in Austria. We'll wait and see. Oh,
Hartman's gone. He's not DNF'd, so your bet's not quite in there. But as he kept it always... I think he has kept it out the wall, or at least not got any damage. He doesn't look to have any front wing damage. and because that was a front-on impact, or would have been, I assume there's not a lot of side pod damage, if any. But yeah, back to this lead. Oh, as One Wing's made a mistake, Michael Furious is now within a second of Michael Furious.
And
let's go. Who's gone now? Philip Marshall's gone off next.
Michael Furious is not using his overtake a lot. He came around that last bend 100%, full battery. So, yeah, that mistake is costing One Wing a ton of time. It could cost him the lead of this race if Michael Furious can get past him, or if on top of that, increases gap to at least 3 seconds. Every lap that goes by, though, makes that more unlikely unless another mistake happens from One Wing. One Wing's tires are very old, though, this time around. He's been on them, and let's take it out on our graphic here, for 20 laps. That's since lap 12 of this Grand Prix. Now, we've had some safety cars, so they're not 20 racing laps, but they do take some chunks out of the tires anyways, those safety car laps. Michael Furious, though, closer than he's ever been, at least since the last safety car restart. Can that Aston Martin catch up? We're right on board with them as they're coming through to the start of Sector 3. And at the end of this lap, it's going to be lap 33, lap 34, and then lap 35. And at the end of lap 35, that's the end of the race. So 3 laps of racing for Michael Furious to catch up to One Wing. That's not how you're going to do it. You're not going to do it by running wide. And he's going to have to claw that time back now. What was 0.4 of a second is now 0.8 of a second. As he comes around the final corner, he's going to have to use his ERS, which he's not using enough during the laps. He always comes around the last corner with almost a full battery. One Wing, on the other hand, is just using as much overtake as possible on every lap. That's why he's staying ahead. But a better line through turn 1 there is Michael Furious have, and he's going to keep chasing One Wing around turns 2. And going a little bit deeper there, he's going to cut back and try to get a better exit. He's going to get some better top line speed towards the top of the crest here into turn 4. Now, I don't think that's going to be an overtaking opportunity in a million years, but maybe if there's a mistake, he can make one in the next turn. Not going to be close enough. One Wing keeps the lead there into the chicane. I don't expect to see any moves. This is where he lost it just a few laps ago, and it cost him so much time, but keeps it together for the most part there. That was a bit scary, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit squirmy. And obviously, Michael Furious, I think he might be a bit nervous to put the, because it does give you something like that where you squirm a bit too much. But the thing is, One Wing's made a mistake. He's also just gone perfect in Sector 2, One Wing. He's pushing his ERS. I was going to say, sometimes if you make one mistake, it's almost trying to get back in the groove and not to make another mistake, as much power that
I don't know if that's just me. Your mic was lagging a bit there, so the stream might not have caught the whole thing. So I do apologize for the robotic voice there. Closer. Oh no! No, One Wing's lost it! He's lost it on the exit of the corner on lap 34! And he's going to have to turn it around. That's a 3-point turn for One Wing, and Monkey's going to take the position. Rusty Oil Can might get ahead as well, as him and Philip Marshall actually have a bit of a moment into turns 1, and that's going to stop them from getting any closer to One Wing. Oh, what's happened there? And Michael Furious takes the lead. Fallen Monkeys take second place here. Oh, you're lagging again.
Oh, give me a second.
Yeah, it could be on my end. It could be on my end, but we'll hopefully get that fixed by the end of this race. There's not too many laps left. So lap 34 out of 35. He's only got a lap and a half to go, Michael Furious. And Hartman has lost it again. That's not good. All right, so Michael Furious leading the Grand Prix. I think Hartman's kept it together there. It doesn't look like he had too much damage, if any. But yeah, oh no, he's definitely got some front wing damage there. That car is not turning through the turns. As he comes around to the start of the final lap. It's been a nice, lovely preseason event here in Hungary. Pleasure to have you watching with us. Michael Fiora is going to kick it off there with a win in the preseason, and hopefully, I'm sure for him, he's going to keep that form throughout this 16 race calendar. And we kick it off in Hungary next week. So, or sorry, did I say we kick it off in Hungary? We kick it off in Austria next week for the Austrian Grand Prix. For me, round one, the first one that counts. We're going to get our full grids. We're going to get all the drivers on the track. We're going to see just how this season is going to pan out here at ISRL Esports. 4 divisions on Sundays, and there's a tons more racing. Division 3 is live right now if you want to go tune in after this race. They also have a bit of a wet race, so we'll have to see. It looks like it's a rainy day in Hungary, so it's we've got Division 2 right after, where me and Jay Wills are going to be partnering up in the Alpine. So from best commentator duo in ISRL to best teammate duo in ISRL, surely. And there's no other way around it. So we'll try to impress just as much as some of these drivers here today have impressed us. And then Division 1 to finish it off, where I'm going to commentate again. And Fallen Monkeys, who's currently second place there in the Red Bull, is going to commentate as well. So Michael Fiores, he comes around the final corner. He's going to take the win here in Hungary, our preseason race. One Wing has had some issues. He's gonna end up letting Rusty Olacan by. Fallen Monkeys picks up second place, and coming around the line, I think he's going to lose it on penalties. Rusty Olacan is going to cross P3. Philip Marshall is going to be P4, and One Wing P4, but he went really slow there. Did One Wing run out of fuel, maybe? Or he's lost his wing again? No, he's had another moment and lost his wing.
Yeah. Is my mic sort of okay now?
Yeah, so One Wing from P1 the start of lap 34 to P4 at the end of lap 35. Razorpone, those intermediates just did not work for him. He had to actually pit for wets again, and he's managed to get past Hartman, but Hartman right over the rear of that Ferrari. It looks like we're going to get a battle right to the line here, all the way down to the finishers. Neither of us were right.
As well.
Yeah, neither of us were right in the DNF numbers. It doesn't matter because we had some great battles. Was Hartman going to get a run here around the final corner? It's a photo finish, but it's the Ferrari staying ahead, and that was a great finish. I was not expecting that from these two down the order. And Racer coming home there ahead of Hartman. I don't know if he kept it on penalties though. But that's the end of our preseason race. Thank you for tuning in. I do apologize again for the childish trolls that came and trolled the chat, and they're still trying to do it. These absolute man-children, I swear. If somebody's asking why is there so many dislikes, it's because there's like 4 or 5 guys just creating fake accounts and trying to troll us. So, yeah, I do apologize. I would have hoped the preseason went off better, but I guess this is these are the, and I apologize for my language, but the assholes we have to deal with right now. So we'll try to get through it. We've got a lovely season ahead of us, and we'll hopefully have a lot more exciting races like that. We're not going to do a driver's interview. I do want to get to the bottom of this bullshit. It's my channel. I'm allowed to say it, okay? So I do want to get to the bottom of this and figure out if we can ban these guys. But yeah, sorry if that tarnished your experience of the stream. Had a lovely time commentating with you, Jay Wills. We'll have to hop in our race seats now and get some practice going ahead of the Div 2 stream. So we're going to end the broadcast here. I don't know if you have any parting words you want to say before I end it.
Just thank you for having me, and I'm excited to have this season go along with you for the next 16 races. It's
going to be an exciting one. So hopefully we have some nice drama-filled races, but the drama on track, not the drama off the track this time around.
Exactly.
Thank you to everybody who tuned in. We'll see you later today, and hope you guys have a great time.